Dude, what the hell is wrong with these people? The guy who corrects everything you say, the person who turns every conversation back to themselves, and the one who lies about things nobody even asked about. You probably know at least one. Maybe just seeing their name on your phone is enough to annoy you. Maybe you've thought, God, this person is unbearable. And before this video ends, I'm going to try to make you ask a different question. Not, what the hell is wrong with them? But, wait, what happened to them? Not because their behavior is okay, not because you should tolerate it, but because sometimes the behaviors that make people hard to like started as ways to feel safe, important, respected, or simply worth noticing. And once a behavior works, your brain has a reason to keep it, even when, years later, it starts destroying the exact thing you wanted. Let the duck explain. Let's start with the know-it-all. You say, that movie was pretty good. 30 seconds later, he is explaining the director's entire career. You mention your own job. He explains your job. You mispronounce one word. His eyes light up. You can almost hear it coming. Actually, and somehow one word makes the whole room tired. From the outside, the message seems obvious. I'm smarter than you. But what if the message inside his head is closer to, please don't realize I'm not as smart as you think I am. Imagine a kid who learns early that being smart gets him something valuable. Praise, attention, respect. Adults smile when he gets the answer right. Teachers call him gifted. Family members call him the smart one. That feels good, but it can hide a trap. If being smart becomes the thing that makes you special, being wrong can start to feel like more than a mistake. It can feel like exposure. Research has found that children praised mainly for intelligence can become more focused on proving ability and more vulnerable after failure than children praised for effort. But forget the study for a second. Think about the lesson from inside the kid's head. Right answer? I'm valuable. Wrong answer? Something feels wrong. Nobody has to say this out loud. The brain is very good at learning patterns without words. Now, fast forward 20 years, nobody is grading him. Nobody is taking away a gold star. Then someone says, I think you're wrong. Tiny sting. And almost instantly, defend it, explain it, correct them, win. Because being right removes the discomfort. For a moment, everything feels normal again. And relief is powerful. If a behavior removes an uncomfortable feeling, repeating it becomes tempting. So he does, again and again. Eventually, knowing things isn't enough. He needs everyone else to know that he knows. And that creates a ridiculous paradox. He wants respect. So he corrects people constantly. People start avoiding him. He notices. And if his self-worth already depends on feeling competent, rejection can make him want to prove himself even harder. More corrections, more arguments, more actually. The thing he uses to protect his value becomes the thing that makes people value his company less. So here's the first uncomfortable possibility. The person trying hardest to look superior may not feel superior at all. Sometimes superiority is just what insecurity looks like from across the room. Maybe you understand him a little better. Maybe he still annoys the hell out of you. Good. Because the next person is harder to ignore. And ironically, being ignored may be exactly what they fear most. You're telling your friends about something awful that happened to you. Halfway through, oh my God, something exactly like that happened to me. And now they're talking. Again, someone gets promoted. They mention their career. Someone gets complimented. They get louder, funnier, more dramatic. Someone tells a story. They have a better one. Eventually you think, does every conversation have to become about you? Sometimes, yes. Some people simply love being the center of attention. But there is another way this pattern can form. Imagine growing up in a house where being ordinary gets very little response. Maybe the parents are overwhelmed. Maybe another sibling needs more care. Maybe everyone is simply busy. You play quietly. Nothing. You behave perfectly. Nothing. Then one day, you do something funny. Everyone laughs. Interesting. Another day, you get hurt. Suddenly, everyone is around you. Interesting. You exaggerate a story at dinner. Everyone listens. Interesting. The brain doesn't need a psychology degree. It only needs to notice, when I do this, people look at me. And wanting attention is not automatically narcissistic. Humans care deeply about belonging. Being noticed, accepted, and included matters. So if someone repeatedly feels invisible, attention can become more than something nice. It can become reassurance. I'm here. You see me. I matter. Now put that person in an adult conversation. Nobody is rejecting her. Her friends are simply focused on someone else. 10 seconds pass, then 20. And somewhere inside, say something. Tell the story. Make them laugh. Bring the room back. So she interrupts. Everyone looks at her. And for a few seconds, it works. That's what makes the pattern cruel. Inside her head, I'm connected again. Inside everyone else's. Jesus Christ. Here she goes again. Slowly, people stop sharing personal things with her. They stop inviting her first. They make plans without her, which gives her more of the exact feeling she was trying to escape. Rejection. So she tries harder. More stories. More drama. More interruptions. More attempts to become impossible to ignore until she becomes impossible to tolerate. That's the second trap. Someone can crave connection so badly that the way they chase it pushes connection away. And if you're thinking, okay, that one is actually a little sad. Good. Because now we get to the hardest person in this video to sympathize with, the person who makes you wonder whether anything they say is real. The liar. Not, sorry I'm late, traffic was terrible. I mean, the person who lies when the truth would have been completely fine. You ask what they did this weekend. Suddenly, they were at some exclusive party. They know someone famous. Their salary is strangely impressive. Their ex was a model. They almost became a professional athlete. Every story makes them slightly more interesting than reality probably did. At first, it's entertaining. Then something doesn't add up. Then another thing. Eventually, the whole group reaches the same silent conclusion. He's full of shit. And here is the weird part. Sometimes he keeps going even after people clearly don't believe him. Why? Imagine someone who spends years feeling painfully average. Other people seem richer, funnier, more attractive, more confident. Their stories get bigger laughs. People seem excited when they enter a room. He doesn't get that reaction. Then one day, he changes a story, just a little. And suddenly, no way, people lean in. They ask questions. They're interested. For 5 minutes, he gets to be somebody else. And the brain learns a dangerous equation. Real me equals boring. Edited me equals interesting. So next time, the edit gets bigger. A normal acquaintance becomes a close friend. A small achievement becomes a major one. A boring weekend becomes a crazy story. And if nobody catches it, why stop? Extreme patterns of elaborate lying have been described in psychology under terms such as pseudologia fantastica. But the important part is simpler than the label. Sometimes the biggest reward of a lie is not what you get. It's who you get to be while people believe it. For a few minutes. You are not ordinary. You are impressive, wanted, successful, interesting. And maybe nobody ever told you the real version wasn't enough. Maybe you told yourself. But once people start liking the edited version, another problem appears. Now, telling the truth doesn't only mean, I lied. It means risking the person you liked isn't really me. So one lie protects another. Then a third protects both. Telling the truth becomes more expensive every day. Until the person who lied because they wanted people to like them creates a situation where nobody can trust them, even when they finally tell the truth. That may be the cruelest trap of all. He started lying because he was afraid the truth wasn't enough. Eventually, the lies become the reason nobody believes the truth. Now look at the three people again. The know-it-all says, see how smart I am. The attention seeker says, see that I'm here. The liar says, see someone worth being interested in. 3 different behaviors. And none of these explanations apply to every person who acts this way. Some people are simply arrogant. Some manipulate attention on purpose. Some lie because lying benefits them. Understanding psychology does not mean inventing a tragic childhood for every asshole you meet. But sometimes, underneath very different behavior, there is a similar question. If I stop doing this, will I still be worth something to you? And now, something important. Understanding someone does not mean excusing them. You can understand why someone learned to lie and still never trust them again. You can understand someone's fear of rejection and still refuse to let them dominate every conversation. You can understand insecurity and still decide you're exhausted from being around it. Empathy is not the same thing as access. You can understand somebody without giving them unlimited access to your life. But remember what I told you at the beginning? I said I was going to try to change the question. So picture the person you were thinking about. Maybe you still don't like them. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe distancing yourself from them was the healthiest thing you ever did. But at the beginning, the question was, what the hell is wrong with this person? Is it still exactly the same question? Or is there another one sitting next to it now? What happened to them? Because those two questions lead somewhere very different. One sees only the behavior. The other asks how the behavior got there. And sometimes, what looks like personality started as a strategy. Be smart, so they respect you. Be loud, so they notice you. Be impressive, so they like you. And when a strategy protects you long enough, you can forget it was ever a strategy. It just starts feeling like you, which leads to one last uncomfortable thought. This video was never only about people nobody likes. Most of us have at least one version of this. Maybe you joke when you're uncomfortable. Maybe you disappear before people can reject you. Maybe you pretend not to care. Maybe you always need to win. Maybe you apologize for everything. Maybe you become the funniest person in the room because silence makes you nervous. Something that once helped you may now be quietly costing you something. So maybe the most useful question isn't, what's wrong with me? Or, what's wrong with them? Maybe it's, what once worked so well that I never learned when to stop? Understand your mind. Protect your peace. And whenever an old survival habit starts costing you more than it protects you, let the duck explain.